Hey there and welcome back to my channel. So today I have a really exciting video for you guys. It's super exciting to me anyways because I decided I would do another tag video of my own. So I've done a couple throughout the many months I've been on YouTube. I did, the fragrance by the month thing. I did, I think like the perfume lovers list I kind of spiced up and did my own take on, and this one I think I'm just gonna call the Nosetalgic 2020. So I tag absolutely everyone who sees this to do your own version. I just felt like there were so many things that I really was curious about different people's collections or things I just thought would be cool to know from each other's collections. So I made my own tag, and these are all the questions that at least came to mind that I thought would be really cool. And then I thought 2020 because I'd love to do this again on like an annual basis, maybe near the end of the year, maybe around my birthday, who knows. But for this year, I'm gonna do it near the end of the year, obviously. And I've chosen 9 questions because 9's my favorite number. So I'm gonna tag obviously every single one of you. I will tag some people specifically that I would love to see you guys do your own take on this. And yeah, let me know if you don't make videos, let me know your answers to these questions in the comments below. I just think it would be so much fun. So without further ado, if you haven't subscribed already, don't forget to subscribe and let's get into it. So the first question is actually, how many fragrances do you own? And I'm gonna let you guys interpret that however you want. Some people can include decants and samples. Some people are gonna see that as only full bottles only. I'm gonna say full bottles only, and I keep a detailed list of every fragrance I've ever owned ever because I keep all my bottles, including my empties. So I recently checked, and until today, current open full bottles, so not including anything mini or decants or samples or anything, I have 326, which is a lot. I know it is, but this is like my main hobby collector type thing, and it works for me. It's not going to work for any of you. Maybe it works for some of you, maybe it works for none of you. This is a no judgment free community, so whether it's 2 or 200 or 4 or 400, I want to know just because I'm curious. And so yeah, 326, I believe, if calculations were done right. And then I have 17 backups, like full bottle backups. I am not a backup person. I was starting to be, and then I reeled myself in real quick because with a collection into the hundreds, I feel like you can't also be a backup person. It's too much for my mind to take. So even if I love a fragrance and it's discontinued and all of the millions of excuses I can make, or like a $200 perfume becomes like $19.99 or whatever it may be, I really, really, really try never ever to get backups. And if I do get backups, it's usually backups that I'm then re-gifting to people. So right now I have 17. Those might be gifted to people. Those don't fall into, like, in my mind, the collection of fragrances that I have to keep no matter what, because they're backups. So sometimes I do gift those to friends and family. Then the second question is just, what's your scent of the day? I just love knowing people's scent of the day, and it could be something that you're totally loving in that moment, or maybe you're just wearing to try it out. I was curious, and I think it'd be fun to know everyone's scent of the day whenever you guys choose to respond to this or make your own. And mine right now is a huge love of mine is Truth or Dare Naked by Madonna. This is a stunner. I am in love with this. Truth or Dare Naked. I said that right? Yeah. Truth or Dare Naked. Oh my god, I have just really fallen in love with this. Like, I can't believe, I'm gonna spray some more. I can't believe I have not been wearing this constantly and that I did not have this in my collection sooner, because I remember a time that this was like in the $19.99 section in our shoppers, and I just looked past this and the original Truth or Dare day in and day out, and finally I recently gave into the hype, and it's everything and more. It is so, so delicious. So that is my scent of the day. Okay, so now the next one. What is the newest fragrance to your collection? And again, depending on when people choose to film this, you might have just had a haul or the last fragrance that you opened on camera. Whatever it may be for you, the last one you just got in the mail. So the last one for me, I did a haul of 2 fragrances, and this was the second one that I opened. It's Cruel Gardenia in the like exclusive higher end line by Guerlain. I have really liked this ever since I picked it up. Nothing's really changed as of yet because it's still quite new as part of my collection, but I really like this. It's my first one that I got from this exclusive line, and I was glad to pick it up for a little bit more inexpensive since I bought it online. And yeah, I'm really liking it. It's very clean. It's a clean kind of Guerlain powdery floral. So it's very much up my alley. And yeah, that's the newest one. And then the next one, the third question, is actually an interesting one because I think about this all the time. Maybe none of you guys do or some of you do, but what's a fragrance that you wish existed? Like a scent or a fragrance that you wish existed? I have infinite lists of this in my mind. Some of them are things that like I think I would dream up and I would make in a dream world, and some I love to get from other people's houses and I feel like is lacking from their collections. So I'll save the ones that I think I would make for me, obviously, but there's one, and I forget who out of you guys I talked to about this in a comment on Instagram, but we're both on the exact same page. I really wish that Parfum de Marly would come out with a violet / candied violet, Parma violet type fragrance. I feel like they're with their feminine bottles, like in a kind of pastel lavender, stunning shade, and then a candied violet that kind of combined all the things I liked from Insolence by Guerlain, but had a more like Parfum de Marly take, where it was a little bit more musky and powdery and maybe less sweet, and slightly more floral, but not too floral of a violet that would be like an Histoire de Parfum Blanc Violette. So I have like a very particular idea of what I think they should do with their fragrance, obviously, but in general, I think that a candied or Parma violet fragrance from Parfum de Marly with, again, like a lavender type shade would be chef's kiss beautiful, and I wish that would exist. If one day it does exist, tag me in that because I need to get my hands on that. And if Parfum de Marly, you are watching, which I know you're not, if you need help creating a Parma violet fragrance, I am your gal, because I just think they would do such a beautiful job with it, and I hope they make it super long lasting as well. Then we get to the next question, which is, what is the like a fragrance house that you kind of discovered this year? Not, I mean, for some people you might see that as being like a new fragrance house or an indie house that was actually created in the past year. I'm taking it more as like, what's a fragrance house that you didn't really own anything from or almost anything from, and you really felt like you discovered it in your collection this year? And for me, it was actually Givenchy. I think I might have owned 1 Givenchy fragrance, maybe 0, nothing that stood out until this past year. And the first one that actually spurred my love for them was L'Ange Noir, the Eau de Parfum by Givenchy. I've talked about this one to death, I'm sure, but oh my god, this completely flipped the switch for me and I could not stop. I got all the L'Interdits. I got a whole bunch more. I just brought 2 more to show you guys, but there's so many. I got Dahlia de Vin by Givenchy, super sweet floral. I more recently got Anjou Démon Eau de Parfum. Stunning. I can't stop wearing this one, you guys. I need to do a whole video on my Givenchy fragrances because that house has just really been an incredible, I don't want to say discovery. I obviously knew fragrances by Givenchy existed, but in my collection, I feel like I've really come into their selection, their old discontinued stuff, their newer stuff, and I've really liked practically everything I've tried from them, which is very rare. So let me know if you want a video on all my Givenchy fragrances, because it's been an incredible discovery. So the next question is one I've found interesting, especially over the past year that I've bought even more fragrances and started making YouTube videos. I was wondering if you are a completionist. And obviously, if you don't know what that means, that's for a person that gets kind of wrapped up with a collection or a series and wants to have the complete series in that particular range. Now, it could be a house or it could be a particular range of fragrances, whatever it may be. I was a huge, and kind of still am, perfume, hair product, like beauty junkie at heart in pretty much everything. I know I don't talk about it much on my channel. I would love to, and maybe I will more and more as we go along, but and I have been in certain things completionist and not in the others. And I'm thankful that I don't have that extreme gene and that I'm a little bit more wishy-washy with it, because I'm just gonna blame it on the fact that I'm a Gemini, that I want like one from each house more than just getting one range from one particular house. However, when I look at people's collections that are, you know, that have only like 4 houses, but they have everything, I agree it looks really beautiful in terms of a collection, because it just kind of looks like a department store. But just me, myself, and how I like fragrances, I can't imagine. I like way too many things to be a full completionist, basically. That's in short. In reality, there are ranges that catch my attention, and then I want all of them. I think the only range that I have absolutely everything of right now, or at least the only one that came to mind, was the Zara Emotions, the Jo Malone Zara fragrances. I have all of them. I pulled out 3 because there's 8 and I didn't want to pull out all of them, but I got all of them in January, February of this year when I was traveling in Portugal. I did a full video on it. Now they're available in the States, so if you live in the States, go get you some. If you live in Europe, then you've had access for a very long time. But I just knew, like I knew way before I ever picked them up, that if I ever saw them, I want every single one. This range like spoke to me in blog posts, and I absolutely knew. And when I went in store and I saw them, they have roller balls. They have these, which are the 30 mils, I think, or the 40 mils. And then they have the 100 mils. And because I wanted one of each, I got the 40 mils in all of them, which I'm really happy about. And they're incredible. This is Fleur de Patchouli. This is one of my favorites. Water Lily Tea Dress is very kind of like a watery British floral. And then Fleur d'Oranger is obviously a really nice orange blossom. Full review on the whole range, but I did get very completionist with that, and I don't regret that, because there were 40 mils and it was, at the time, so hard to get my hands on. So definitely happy with that. Maison Lancôme is another range that I've started to get more completionist about. Not fully, because I won't pick up the ones that I already know I won't like, but in general, I just love those bottles, and it's so hard not to be drawn to having more of them, if that makes any sense. So then the next question is, what's your first fragrance memory? And not scent memory, because that could be just, you know, like, I don't know, a pie that your parents always made growing up, or so many other things have scent, a candle, whatever it may be. But your first fragrance memory, because for me, it's a very, very clear, distinct memory of 2 fragrances worn both separately and just like in a memory together, and they formed a really, really intense impression on me. I'm not saying it's the reason I got into fragrance, but like before I could even really formulate sentences, I remember these 2 fragrances, and they were the 2 fragrances my mom was wearing kind of like when I was born to 3, 4, 5, I suppose, like the first 5 years of my life, which like those early years are really important for child development. So again, I'm not saying that's the reason, but she wore these a lot, and I was so enamored by that scent memory that she has vintage bottles that she's kept, only of those 2. She isn't like a fragrance person like I am, but she's just kept her old bottles, and I went out and I bought my own versions of them so I could always have them as part of my collection. So the first one is Boucheron Eau de Toilette by Boucheron. This isn't even a fragrance I would ever wear, really. It's a very heady, like 80s style, like 70s, 80s style floral. It's very strong. Eau de toilette does not do justice to what this fragrance can do. This one spray will linger for the rest of the day. It is an incredibly strong, very, very heady floral and kind of like greeny floral. This isn't even the kind of fragrance she'd ever be into. I think it was just like at the time popular and it was a gift and she just stuck with it. Now she wouldn't wear it either, but it just brings the most beautiful memories of growing up. And even if I don't ever wear it, I'll spray it every once in a while like this to just remember the good times. And then the other one, which is actually much more popular and people do kind of get it sometimes, is Casimir by Chopard. I got a tester bottle and it doesn't have the cap, but I didn't care. I just wanted this. And this one I do wear from time to time. It's a very apricot dessert type fragrance. It's quite gourmand, very sweet, more wearable than the Boucheron. And yeah, these two fragrances are just completely evoking of like my first fragrance memory and the two fragrances that made me fall in love with all things perfumery. All right, so the second last question, question number 8, is what's a fragrance house that you don't own a single fragrance from? And obviously like a fragrance house that you want to own from that you haven't yet. For a long time it was Chanel. This year I actually got a Chanel fragrance, so now I have one from Chanel, but for a long time that was like the most unexpected house that you would think out of 300 plus fragrances I would have owned from. Now it's actually Diptyque, and Diptyque is a house I've owned many a sample, maybe of every one of their fragrances. I've owned a sample throughout the years, and I actually did buy a Diptyque fragrance for my mom a couple years ago, and then figured I was gonna get myself one, you know, a couple months later, and I still haven't. And again, there are so many that I would have got throughout the years, and I just never really dig. And I bought her L'Ombre dans l'eau, which is one I wanted to get myself, and now it's just such a like signature scent for her that I feel like I wouldn't buy it for myself personally, but it's a beautiful one. So I'm still kind of thinking which one I would get from the range, but one day I will own a fragrance from Diptyque. Currently I own 0 full bottles. And then the last question, question number 9, is what is next on your wish list? And if you guys follow me on Instagram, then you'll know Fridays I do a Friday fragrance wish list story where I tell you guys 3 fragrances I'm really lusting after. So there are hundreds, but one I'd really like to get as part of my collection sometime soon is Meteorites by Guerlain. I recently picked up, I forgot when, but I recently picked up Terracotta, and I really, really want to get Meteorites as well. So hopefully I will. And yeah, I really like the smell of their powder, so I'm sure I will like the smell of this fragrance. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any of these questions that you want to leave answers to, please leave them in the comments below. If you want to make your own version, definitely do. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!